some people go, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't drink at 35 years. I said, oh, I'm so glad I drank at 19 years. See? So, you know, we say it, Koyas always says this. He said, look, recovery is a process, not an event. It's a process. It's a flow, you know. And, you know, a lot of us do 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 5 steps forward, 2 steps back. You know, like the critic, the inner critic is the problem. That's the problem, or this condition of self. If we couldn't be released from it, why are we asking to be released from it in a prayer? I mean, that's my question to anybody. I kept trying to be free as this thing rather than from this thing. There's a big difference. There's a huge difference. And part of that's what we read all the time. You don't hear people talk about it much, is we claim the spiritual progress. We claim this. And so, you know, how much time do I have, Elizabeth? Are you paying attention to the timer?
Elaine said she'd help me because I forgot to start the timer. Elaine, what do we have, 5 minutes?
5 minutes?
No, you've got about 6 more minutes.
Okay, good. Okay. So, you know, where do I go from here? I'll tell you where I go from here. I can tell you exactly. What happens is you access a sense of gratitude and appreciation. That's what you access. You access a sense of gratitude and appreciation. And I think that's the real gift of, oh my God. You know, I tried to commit suicide 3 times. In fact, I tried to cut my arm open when I was drunk in a bathtub, and I had a scalpel, and I tried to open my arm up, and for some reason it wouldn't open. And, you know, I laid in that tub and bled for a while and drank, and that didn't work. So a couple of years after that, I tried to drive my car off a freeway. Of course, that didn't work either, you know, obviously. I tried to overdose, you know, that didn't work. I woke up, you know, that's the worst. But what was I trying to do? See, I'll tell you what I was trying to do. It's clear to me as a bell today. I was trying to kill the wrong self. I was dead on the money, but I was trying to kill the wrong self. And I didn't know it. That is so clear to me today. So clear. There was a part of me that was dead on the money, just like drinking. There was a part of me that was dead on the money, drinking. Connection, a sense of ease, a sense of peace, a sense of wonder. This is what Jung talked about when he said this spirit is contra spiritus. We use a depraving poison for the highest religious experience or spiritual experience for people that don't like it. But what that means linking, it means connection, see? Like this was the deal. This was what I was looking for. Before I drank and I had the internal dialogue that something was missing, guess what? I was dead on the money. It wasn't that it was missing, absent from me. It was that I did not have access to it. And that was probably the biggest revelatory part of this thing, that this is the possibility here. The possibility here is to see what's looking. is the very thing I've been looking for. It's like this awareness is the essence of a spiritual experience, or more religious members call it God consciousness. The great reality is deep down within us. In the last analysis, it's only there that it may be found. So I'll leave it there. How's that? Thank you very much.
That was awesome. Okay, so while I tell everybody about the rest of the meeting, you can think of a topic, which I hate when they do that to me. That's our tradition, so you got to pick a topic. The rest of the meeting, guys, welcome to everyone who hasn't been here before. We're here, what is it now? Sunday through Thursday, I think. Sunday through Friday, Elaine. At 8 o'clock, and it's speaker participation every night but Friday, which is open discussion. And we're glad you're all here. So the rest of the meeting will have open shares. Kurt will call on people. We don't raise hands here. That's our tradition here, that our visiting speaker calls on people. And we ask that you keep your shares to about 3 minutes. We don't officially time people, but sometimes I do it in the background secretly, and then I'll say something if you go too long. But go ahead, Kurt, if you want to set a topic, and then you get to call on anybody. It's all your meeting. So,
and I didn't probably talk, well, I talked around this a lot, but here's the topic. It's fear versus mental anxiety. Because we say a lot of stuff about fear, but a lot of the stuff we say about fear isn't about fear. It's about a mental anxiety that's created by a narrative about something that is happening that's not even true. It's not happening.
Not even true.
Okay, so when I say fear, I'll say it like this. Fear is the highest intelligence of a human being. That's survival mechanism. It's the highest intelligence. It's versus mental anxiety, which we call, we might call it psychological fear of false evidence. Anyways, how's that? That very good topic? Or whatever you guys want to talk about. So I'll call on the first person, and I don't know why, but I'm zeroing in on Marty C.
Marty.
You're muted, Marty. He can't talk, you said. He can't talk. Thanks, buddy. Thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. How about we got Kate from Akron, Ohio.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kurt, for your share. My name's Kate. I'm an alcoholic from Akron, Ohio. So I came here to hear you tonight because I have heard you through the past year and a half, 2 years, through all the Zoom meetings, and you talked about meditation, and you opened my eyes to I wanted to thank you. You opened my eyes. I've been sober since '93, but that doesn't mean anything. It's a day at a time. And some people grow quicker than others. But you opened my eyes to the part about with meditation to listen. I was more into like emptying the mind, and focusing so much on not thinking about thinking. But I wasn't really focusing a lot on listening and listening to God. And so that's helped me tremendously. And I wanted to thank you for that. And I always love your share, and I take notes. I don't know that I can comment on your topic. I'm a little confused about your topic. I'm still trying to get, okay. I mean, seeing ourselves as we really are, like, you're saying that's not transformative, is my understanding. Seeing that we have to change the seer. When the seer changes, then there's transformation. And is that so? My question. So like I always thought, well, I've grown so much through my inventory, because there's all kinds of things I saw that I never knew I did. I mean, and the longer I'm sober, the more things I'm seeing, and I'm so grateful for that. But now I'm a little confused, because it's like, so am I still not seeing the truth about myself. Could you speak to that at all?
Yeah, and no, it's not that you're not seeing the truth. It would be here's how we'd look at it. This is a great thing. It's said now and on evolution and maturation towards wholeness. So I would say these are like degrees of understanding. So when I say the seer, when the seer changes, everything changes. Everything the seer is looking at changes. So this is exactly what Chuck C meant when he said new pair of glasses. So you can use this analogy. So let's just say I haven't worn glasses, and I get used to seeing through this perception. Pretty soon it becomes normal. And I think, well, I'm doing okay. I can see everything, you know. Now, I only get a revelatory insight into my blindness when the glasses are put on. All of a sudden I go, oh my God, I can't believe I couldn't see before. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, when I say that's what I'm talking about, it's the same way we come in the program, right, Kate?
Yeah.
We come in the program and we go, what do you mean I can't choose to stay sober? What do you mean I don't have a choice? I chose to drink. It's just the ignorance of the condition I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I see it, I go, holy moly. Everything I was doing was control. It was a form of control. Everything I was doing was a form of control. Not going to the liquor store, that's a form of control. Not having it in the house, that's all that's a description. It's here are the methods we have tried. In chapter 3, read those methods and take every one of them and put them in either the mental or the physical. They'll fit into one of them. That's what they're describing. They're saying, don't have it in the house. Well, that's not the allergy, that's the mental. Switching from scotch to brandy, that's the physical. So you start to go, oh, Jesus Christ. It's just a different way of understanding from just a different depth of understanding. That's all. It's not a right or wrong. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can pick the next person.
Gee, this is a tough crowd. How about Chris?
Everybody, my name's Chris. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you so much for that talk. I talk about depth and weight. I've really come to the conclusion over the last number of years that the book Alcoholics Anonymous, it's like higher consciousness 101. Like you can read it. You can read it at like first year level, and it's got lots of tips and steps that can be taken. But it's also 1,000 miles deep, yeah. And it's very spiritual and mystical in its nature, and it uses a lot of the language that a lot of the spiritual masters used. The consciousness of the presence of God, the great reality. It talks about this, like Kurt, you were talking about changing the seer changes, the shift in perception that comes from the awakening that we have if we've really done our job with this stuff. And what happened with me was, this got me really involved in spirituality. It got me so I also started digging into some, where some of this stuff came from and who are some of the spiritual masters today. And they all tell us to wake up. We're not seeing things the way they need to be seen. And your topic, when I'm taking somebody through the fear inventory, the term fear, I think the definition has changed over the years, because Chris, you got an inventory of fear. I don't got any fear, Well, Chris, you got to inventory the things that you're uncomfortable with with yourself and your environment. How about that? Can you inventory that? Yes, everything. So it's really my level of anxiety and therein, what I am uncomfortable with. And so anyway, thank you so much, Kurt. I love it when you speak.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. How about John up there in the corner?
Hey, I'm John. I'm an alcoholic. Thanks, Kurt, man. I love coming to hear you speak, man. Your message is it's just crystal clear, man. And Schroeder just gave me this book called The Four Agreements, and listening to you about a month ago, you were talking about, that's not me. You said it again today, right? The part of self that I'm trying to, get rid of and trying to deal with. I don't even really understand it. The 12 steps help me get a clearer picture of what's wrong with me. But this book made it crystal clear that there's two things in my mind that really drive me. And that's the judge and the victim, right? And the victim comes from taking myself way too seriously all the time, And when I can realize that, and it was like when I got through this book, it was like a revelation, man. I've been sober a long time, and I've suffered in recovery. I've had great moments of peace and serenity, but for the first time, because of the grace of Zoom, speakers like you and Chris and Marty and the countless others, it made me go like, man, like Chris says, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. These guys have found it, and I think I just tapped a resource. I just ordered a bunch more books off of Amazon. I'm not a reader, but I mean, this book, I believe, is going to make me a reader, because when something can capture this learning disabled mind to the point where it just goes, whoa, like you say, you just all of a sudden you're awake, man. And I spoke on it today in Palm Springs at Jim Luce's group. I texted Schroeder and I said, I'm going to throw it out there, man. I'm going to see how I do, and it was a cool meeting, man. And like I said, he tried to kill what got me, man. I was suicidal too, because of the effects of out drinking, and the effects of being separated in early recovery from drinking drove me to entertain suicide. And I was trying to kill the wrong self, man. Like I said, that's the judge, the victim. That's not who we are, man. Like that is just so powerful to me, man. And starting the day in neutral, like you said, in the 11th step, right? Free from self-pity, free from the judge, man. Right? Free from the guy who makes the selfish decisions based on self, right? That the neighbors are talking about. I know they're talking about me. That's the judge. And then I start believing it. Then I'm pissed off. Then I'm permitting resentment. And then I'm just completely on the wrong track, man. You know what, man? I mean, you're a badass, man. I mean, you guys have changed my life, man. You really have. In the last year and a half, Zoom and your teachings and the speakers that I come up against have absolutely changed my life, man. And I thank you, man. I thank you for showing up today and just coming here to speak to God's kids, man. And we love you, man. Thank you. Thanks for having a meeting, Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's the sense of gratitude. See, I feel exactly the same way about the people that kind of opened my eyes to this. I mean, it just totally made sense. It was like, oh my God, you mean, where the hell have I been? Well, obviously. How about Tiffany from Temecula?
Hi, Kurt, everybody. My name's Tiffany. I'm an alcoholic. Today I'm 20 days sober, so I'm still kind of new at all this. So
Very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty happy about it. I had a roommate who came home today, and he was telling me about some drink he had last night, and I just kind of dead-eyed looked at him and I said, do you know that I'm only 20 days sober? Why are you telling me this? And do you understand how insensitive that is right now? And he goes, oh, my Uber's going to be here in 7 minutes. And I said, okay, why don't you go get ready to catch your Uber? And I just, I haven't got that enlightenment of seeing, my two selves yet. But there's very definitely a definition between drunk Tiffany and sober Tiffany, because sober Tiffany kind of puts it right out there. There's no hiding behind anything. She says what she means what she says. Drunk Tiffany would be like, oh, did I see that? Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess I better be about my word, So sober Tiffany remembers what she says and holds herself to it. And I'm finding that I'm stronger. And every day I'm getting stronger. I'm still in my IOP treatment. But after that, I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, I need to find a meeting. And the ESH group that I'm in Washington, they had listed a bunch of meetings, and this is one of them. And I'm so glad I came, because I was just sitting there thinking, I want to go get a honey bun drink, whatever was in that. But instead, I'm going to have an ice cream, and I'm going to sit down. That's why I was blocked earlier, because I was eating an ice cream, because, not very healthy either, but still, ice cream instead of alcohol is for me right now. And, I'll take it one step at a time, one day at a time. I just got my books the other day, and I've been devouring them. Just on a healthy path. My dad has 24 years sobriety. Right now, he's my hero. Our sobriety dates are 10 days apart. So, I said, next year, Dad, we're going to have a big party right in the middle.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing, and I can't wait to grow and learn. And I have a strong constitution. This was my decision to quit drinking. Nobody forced me into it. Nobody put me in rehab. I didn't attempt suicide or anything like that. I just decided that I didn't want to drink anymore, and it's not who I want to be. It's ruined relationships. It's ruined my life. It hasn't ruined my job. I was a functioning alcoholic. But yeah, I'm here now, and I have the constitution to quit, and I have 20 days in the rest of my life, and I'm grateful for it. So
thank you. How about Mary?
Thank you, Kurt, for your share. Appreciate your service. My name's Mary, and I am an alcoholic. And I'm not really sure I understood the topic either, but in any case, I sure do appreciate Zoom also. I was on a meeting earlier today, and I happened to run into the lady that was chairing the meeting was from my hometown. And I'm from a very, very small area in upstate New York. So it was such a pleasure to meet a couple of members of Alcoholics Anonymous that I've known for a lot of years, and just run into them. And we had a nice little chat after. So all I can tell you is that I'm sober today. And by the grace of God, I mean, when I first got sober, I used to say, if I can get sober, anybody can get sober. Because I was just crazier than, it was pretty wild when I was out there, and I'm a person I had to go back out for a couple of years after I lost my parents and stuff, and I could not, after I came back, all I know is that I could not stay sober during all of the very, very difficult, those, what I call them as significant life events that happen without my permission. My sister, who was 20 years sober when she died, after they died, she was sick with ovarian, but, that was a silver lining in there, that we got to spend a lot of time together, and we had women over to the house, and we had lots of meetings, and she was still all about her recovery and extending the hand. She was such a sick girl, and she used to say, who's got a problem today? How can we help you? So love and service was what she was teaching, and she taught me a lot of other good things, and I sure appreciate that. And a lot of other, members of this program have helped me along the way, and I'm very, very blessed for that. So I thank you again for your service, and God bless.
Thank you. How about David R.?
Thank you, Kurt. I'm David, and I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is August 23rd of 79. And congratulations, Tiffany. I was told when I first came in, just because you have a drinking problem, Davy Russell, doesn't mean the world's going to change. Everybody's going to go to the bar, and everybody's going to party, and everybody's going to be a female that does this, and everything does that. I was not to watch what was happening outside of me. I had to I had to change to face those situations. Anyhow, I really appreciate this. Jimmy had suggested I come on. I got on a little late, so I apologize that, but I really loved everything I heard. I was reflecting, my situation is I had a stroke about 8 years ago, and that was devastating, and I've walked through it, and I've been able to use my brain, and what I had lost was my brain. I just could not remember the big book. I was a big book thumper, and I lived it and breathed the type thing, and I really loved how you've grown and developed far beyond my ability, but I appreciate that it's progress rather than perfection, and it's not an event, it's a whatever. I was struggling with a guy who had a stroke and a heart attack last year during the pandemic, and he was up in Massachusetts with his family, and he decided he wanted to come back home. He's 89 years old, and he's headstrong, and he's only worked the fellowship of AA. He's never worked the steps, and so he's a stubborn mule, and all that type of stuff. And he's dying, and he gets calls from his kids daily, and they say, he says, I'm doing all right, I'm doing fine, the FINE, but and they really don't see him because they're not down here living his life experience. He's dwindling and failing, and I just felt that I needed to talk to them to say that he's not what he says he is, and he really needs you at this point, but he's blocked from that idea of going up there and giving up his independence, as he's in the delusional that he's independent, and I suggested his family would rather him be home and caring and loving and extending his life for maybe a few years instead of me calling and saying I came there Friday and he's dead, and they don't want to hear about it that way. I think they would rather find a way to solve it. So we're in the midst of this the problem of Donnie, but helping him see a new perspective and his family to see a perspective. And I really appreciate all you had to say. I love you.
Thanks, buddy. Let me get on page 2 for a second. What do we got here? How about Elaine?
Oh boy. Look at Elizabeth, she's dropping dead. My name is Elaine, and I'm an alcoholic. And thank you for being here tonight. I want to comment on your topic, fear versus mental anxiety. Fear for me creates mental anxiety. It's one and the same pocket. Fear for me is something that I create myself. My mind goes to work. I get all sorts of anxious, and it tells me that I have not given whatever it is to my higher power, which then tells me I haven't worked the steps. My God, I'm a rocket scientist. So what do? I call my sponsor. I immediately say the first 3 steps out loud. If I can't get a hold of my sponsor because she's over on the left coast, I'm here in Ohio. I got sober in LA, by the way, at Ohio Street. And I called one of the women, many of whom sit in this meeting. Sometimes I get so desperate, I even call Leprechaun. But that's what I do. I work the steps because my fear and my mental anxiety make me do things that I think are the most brilliant fucking ideas on the planet. And guess what? They are not. Self will run riot. And that's what I got to say about that. So thank you for being here. And with that, I will pass.
Thanks, Elaine. Well, since Leprechaun got an honorable mention, let's get him on there. Where is he? I saw him a minute ago. Is he still here?
Patrick.
I don't think
he
he's
walked
here.
away.
He stepped away. He probably went to get a bagel.
How about JM from Tampa?
Jay.
Hello, my name is Jay and I'm an alcoholic. I knew there was going to be a problem when I saw all the books. I'm like, oh my God, the books. Do you see any books? I have 4 books. 2 of them are AA approved. One is Hazelden approved. One is a little pamphlet that somebody gave my mom, and they were trying to convert her to Christianity before she died. But it's got a little spiritual message, and I converted to the way AA would put it. I just, can't hurt. My mind is anything but spiritual on its own. So this is how I relate it. When I came to AA, I thought I was very intelligent, and I thought my life was manageable because my mortgage was caught up, and I didn't owe anybody any money, and I was successful. I later learned a different definition of unmanageability because I kept coming around. I also wanted to drink, which is unmanageable. And I knew that, as soon as I figured this out, I'd do it. Because I believed you people. And if I just figure it out, and guess what? I still haven't figured it out. I had to be willing to just give up. A lot of opportunities to just give up, which is like less of me and more of something else. So I have a real much simpler view. And I remember one time when my sponsor, I was sober many years, and I was working with somebody in another program, and they have a workbook with this gigantic 1,000,000 questions for step 1. Some people probably might know which workbook it is. And I was willing to work the workbook along with them. And I called my sponsor. He said, "You've done a 4th step. You've done these steps. So this is for somebody that's never thought of this before. Just open to your big book to the steps and do it the way it is in the big book." And that's where I had my aha moment. It was so simple. Keep it simple, stupid. For this alcoholic, it's amazing because I came here with pages and pages of mental illness and blah, 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 and excuses galore. And I've been around a while, and I realized the difference. There's really no difference between a loser and a loser with excuses. They're both losers. And if I don't work the program and I'm not willing to do it, I'm not going to get the payoff, which for me is to be happy, joyous, and free. And I spend a reasonable amount of time being happy, joyous, and free. And I related to what Elaine said, in this simple thing of fear or anxiety, it's a sign that I need to go to step 1 and look at what I'm powerless over and what is unmanageable. And do I believe that God is bigger than that? Am I willing to turn it over? What are my character defects? Which, come to find out, are the same ones that I did when I spent that 4th step. That was just this gigantic thing that I talked about in meeting after meeting. Now, I'm the same alcoholic. I could do it quickly. I could talk to my sponsor, and I can become willing to be new. Do an amends. I do it daily. And then I want to shut up and meditate, and then pass it on to another drunk. Whoa, it's so simple, I never could have thought of it. And that's how I work my program. Grateful that I'm here. I'm grateful for all the books, but I'm not reading them. I'm just not. But I'm glad they're there for other people to read. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Jay. Thank you, Kurt, and thank you to everyone who shared. We've reached the end of time for sharing the meeting. And are there any AA announcements? Elaine, do you have any announcements?
No.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Oh, you often do. So I just wondered. If anyone's speaking in the next week, we'd love it if you want to share that in the chat. And I want to, Kurt, thank you again. If you would like, we actually use the Lord's Prayer in this meeting. If you want to use that, if you want to take us out or whatever you'd like to do.
You know, is there somebody that hadn't shared that would like to close us with a prayer? Just raise your hand. Carol.
Who?
How about Carol?
Okay.
Hi,
I
I'm
love her
Carol.
voice. So
Hi, can we close with the Serenity Prayer, or do you want the Lord's Prayer?
what?
That's good with me, but I don't know what the format is.
Elaine and Mary, it's their meeting more than mine. So
Whatever you want, you can do. As long as we have a
You're the
prayer.
one who got asked, so I think you the boss.
Okay, I'd
You're-
rather do
yeah.
the Serenity Prayer. God, grant us serenity to accept the things we cannot,
change.
courage
To change the things we can,
and the
and the
wisdom.
wisdom
To know the difference. Amen.
Ooh.
I will
Hey,
not
everybody.
ask you
Hang out. We have fellowship after the meeting. She's not here this evening, but Marianne has called. We call it last call. So we're here.
If everybody has the same commentary, how can that be you? That's my question. It cannot be you. It cannot. This is the thing, this is, I harp on this because a buddy of mine harps on it, and it makes so much sense because it's in the book. It's in the book 2 places. It says, when we became alcoholics, crushed by a self-imposed crisis. That crisis is not a crisis I caused. It is the imposition of this condition of self that I was drinking to kill. And then the other part, it says, being convinced that self manifest in various ways is what defeated us. We're the us. The condition is not us. That was the turning point. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is like, you're driven. I learned that a long time ago. Reaction and response are 2 totally different things. A reaction comes from one place, a response comes from a completely different place, a position of neutrality. It's a completely different energy. Sorry, I got on a tangent there.
No, you're fine. You're the guest tonight.
Thanks, Greg.
Good night, everybody. Have a lovely evening. Hope
Good
to
night,
see you back
Elaine.
here. Good night. I hope to see you all back here tomorrow night. All the other nights we're here every night of the week, like Elizabeth said, except for Saturday. We have speakers on tonight, of course, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Friday. We
what's her name? Oh my God, it's killing me now. Lynn is starting
Mary.
on
Is
Wednesday.
Mary here? Did Mary leave?
Yeah,
No,
Lynn
Mary's right there.
isn't Lynn starting to be the chairperson on Wednesday?
Oh, there she is. Who's our new leader on Wednesday night? I can't remember her name.
Lynn. Her name's
Lynn.
Bundy.
Yes, Lynn from
B.
San Francisco. Yeah.
She always has a little hamster in her profile picture.
He's from.
I think it's a guinea pig. Isn't it a guinea
Guinea
pig?
pig. You're right. Yes.
Yeah, I called it a hamster, and she almost
She
bit
didn't
my
like
head
that.
off.
No, I didn't like it.
Sandy. I thought it was
She goes to a
Good
lot
night,
of
everybody.
meetings.
God bless. Thank
She's
you.
often driving, so she has
Bye,
her,
Elaine.
Yes,
her
from San
screen
Francisco.
off.
Good night.
Bye,
Thanks, you
guys.
guys. Good to see you, Carol. Good to see you, Elizabeth.
Good to see you, Kurt. Thanks for
Elizabeth,
coming.
thank you for a
Thanks,
great
John.
meeting. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Kurt, for your